Hi, this is Ben Poole for FinExtra, and today I'm joined by Marc Romain from Thomson Reuters. Marc, thanks for joining me. We're going to talk about KYC today. As your role as Chief Operating Officer here at Thomson Reuters, what are you hearing from financial institutions around the challenges that KYC is presenting them with?
Well, what we're hearing is, there's a lot of ongoing regulatory demands and pressures on them. So the focus on, how they really comply with those changes in the sort of regulatory market and are really compliant and really understand their underlying clients is really critical. And what we've also seen is just over the last couple of years, the increased sort of hits we're seeing through our own sort of capability and monitoring has sort of doubled. So that's really the sort of common challenges coming out, from our clients, both on the sort of big sell-side organisations as well as the buy-side. And what we're also seeing actually, it's not just about the end-to-end solutions that could help them, but also in some senses, it's more a modular approach. And what I mean by modular, it is really, well, I'd like to look at screening and monitoring, or could you just help with client outreach?
And often the relationship manager can be seen as a go-between between the client and compliance. Is there a more effective or efficient way of doing this?
Again, I think what we're seeing is a lot of the relationship managers traditionally being caught in between that compliance and the client. And what we're hearing or seeing is sort of between 20 or 30% of their time being caught up in that process. So what's interesting is seeing an emergence, I think, between both, again, the sort of sell side as well as the buy side around looking at different models whereby they can resolve that challenge, freeing up relationship managers to really focus on an industry that's clearly seeing lower margin and how they can really readdress that balance internally from a more centered focus on selling to clients, but to go more cross-client. And I think what we're seeing emerging therefore is a re-evaluation, certainly in the bigger financial institutions, of what is their underlying operating model. So traditionally, things that have been deemed to be proprietary within their organizations around technology and operations is now starting to drive a trend in the industry of an emergence of a new way of thinking in terms of industry utilitization or managed services, and how that then can help solve some of that end-to-end challenge and opportunity and free up the sort of relationship manager to focus more on the sort of product selling in their role.
And of course, determining the ultimate beneficial owner is a challenge during the onboarding process. What's the best practice for ongoing monitoring of this?
Well, it's probably one of the biggest challenges, I think, emerging as you start looking at really understanding your client, is that sort of unbundling of that UBO. And I think the sort of emerging sort of best practices, I think, are looking at the multi-jurisdictional nature of the regulatory market, and also how clients look at that can actually make it very difficult in terms of, do you go to a 25% level, a 10 or even a 2? So you've got that complexity in the market. So driving a best practice, I think themes that are emerging will be, how do you drive standardization in the industry, but equally, can you start using different types of technologies that are emerging, which in my mind would be more like screen scraping type technology, or artificial intelligence, along with driving to more increased standardization, I think will then help with this particular challenge of actually driving a more common standard over time,